I want to show you what's behind my left shoulder. It is surreal when you consider that at this point in time during a marathon, there should be hundreds of people coming across that finish line, grabbing a bottle of water, and then grabbing their medal. It is quite the opposite. As you can see, Boylston Street is completely cleared out. They have shut down Boylston Street from Mass Ave all the way to Arlington. No people allowed. When we ran down to find the source of the explosion originally, they cleared us out because they said they still did not know if there were other explosions still to come. So recapping what happened, about 40 minutes ago, I was a block and a half away. We heard the explosion. When we looked out of the truck, you could see smoke that actually went higher than the bridge over the finish line. Now, it's unconfirmed, but from talking to several eyewitnesses, this happened at 671 Boylston Street. Again, that's across from the library. And Reed, I heard you say that you felt that some people were affected sitting in the stands. There actually were not grandstands, viewing stands on that side of the street. There were stands in front of the library, but definitely people had fallen down and a lot of things had collapsed. We actually saw runners who collapsed from the impact of that blast. But as you've been reporting, as I told you earlier, the response was immediate because there are so many medical personnel in this area. I know that you're watching the video now thanks to Don Nelson, my colleague who was on the bridge to photograph the finishers. He actually saw the explosions. We have the moment of those explosions. And as people were trying to respond to that first disaster, then all of a sudden that explosion, that second explosion came out of nowhere. And I'll tell you, just from my perspective, you knew immediately that something was wrong. I have heard gunshots, I've heard cars backfiring, I've heard massive car crashes, and this definitely wasn't that. White smoke and then chaos. Lots and lots of response. We don't have any numbers on those affected in the aftermath of this, which is still going on. People have not talked to us yet to give a response, but I can tell you sadly that my colleagues and I saw many, many people injured, and those injuries are severe. There was a lot of blood left at the scene.
Janet,
So,
Jen, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you, I'm gonna go back here real quick, if you can.
What?
There you go. I want to go back, if you can. I had mentioned earlier, we're now getting some new video, what appears to be maybe some people who were hurt, but I had mentioned it because I wasn't clear myself. The explosion did not happen at in the grand. There weren't stands that collapsed. Or there were just effectively people standing around. Am I right?
Correct.
What you had said? Okay.
Correct. From what I hear, Reed, now again, it was chaotic. At first, someone told me that he thought that it happened in a building. That is not correct. From what I've been hearing from eyewitnesses, so again, this is unconfirmed officially, but eyewitnesses told me that there appeared to be two packages or two bags on the sidewalk against the building, which I believe is 671 Boylston. This is in between Dartmouth and Exeter. It's not the building right on the corner that has the Bank of America. It's closer to the Marathon Sports Place and the candy store, Sugar Heaven. That's where these packages were, apparently. But when they went off, it shattered the windows of the building for several floors, and that's why people thought the explosion came from inside the building. But in fact, it appears that it's now outside, and it appears that the majority of people affected were bystanders. But for those of us who've covered this marathon many times, that's about the worst place disaster can happen, because that is the #1 prime viewing space right 100 yards from the finish line. So definitely very crowded at the time of this explosion.
Janet, you had mentioned that you had seen had seen some of these people with the injuries. I'm wondering, some of the video that we have seen that I don't think is necessarily aired yet, and it's going to be very tough for some people to hear, but what we're gathering, or what we believe we see, are people without limbs. I mean, did you see that? Are the injuries that grave?
I will say, Reed, that yes, there was a lot of blood, and I saw some people with blankets covering their legs, and my colleague did see someone that appeared to have lost their legs in the explosion. Again, I did not see that directly, but I did see some very severe injuries and a lot of blood, and it would not surprise me if there were multiple cases as you describe.